Hello and welcome to Capital View. On this episode, we bring you a special roundtable brought to you by Niti Foundation and ET Now. Last week, outgoing Chief Election Commissioner H.S. Brahma said that the abuse of money power is growing in elections. Is money power and muscle power leading to the corruption of the electoral process in India? How can the electoral process be made into a level playing field, and how can technology be leveraged for this purpose? Joining us on this question, Musaffar Hussain Baig of the PDP is joining us, Bhartendra Singh of the BJP, Sandeep Dikshit of the Congress Party, and Deputy Election Commissioner Umesh Sinha is also joining us. Thanks everyone very much indeed for being here. Musaffar Hussain Baig, let me kick it off with you. Transforming the electoral process, transforming the election process seems to hinge crucially on winning the battle against the abuse of money power. How can this be done? What, in your opinion, is the key step that can be taken so that at least as far as money power is concerned, there is a level playing field in elections?
The subject here is leveraging technology. I would say that we have to leverage morality and ethics into our political life. The greatest flaw in our political system is the institution of high command.
Within the party?
Within parties. Germany, we had Germany as an example. The Jeevan Reddy Commission in 1999 had extensively quoted from the German constitution and recommended certain changes. Now let me explain. If a corporate, let me show you the connection. If I am the leader of a national party or a regional party, I am the leader. I have the power to give the mandates to the people. I have the power either to possibility to come into power or to be an important player in the opposition. Big corporates don't go to the candidates. They don't go to the candidates. They will come to me. They will bribe me. Now, so long as we do not have, like Germans, a system where there is no concept of high command, but an executive committee of 3 members is chosen by the delegates through secret ballot. So the leaders are chosen for a certain number of years by the delegates through secret ballot. They become the executive committee. Then they give the mandates. Mandates are also given through secret ballot. And therefore, you don't have an institution, whether it is, I'm not pinpointing any particular party, but whether it is a regional party or national parties, I think we have this scourge of feudal, family-based kind of a system of spoils.
High command culture within parties is actually what encourages the kind of corruption we have. Let me put this to Sandeep Dikshit, who is in a party where there is a very strong high command culture. What Baig Sahab is suggesting is that the structure of our political parties is such that they encourage corruption.
Can't say whether there is such a neat relationship between command structures in a party, and whether that makes it entirely easy for corruption to seep in. One will not disagree with the fact that the more democratized any party or any institution is, perhaps some of the other things automatically kick in. Things like fact that there will be more people you are answerable to, there will be greater group of people who would be going around, so there's obviously more transparency, more openness, and I don't think you can argue against that.
But would you accept that abuse of money power is growing in elections?
One thing I must compliment, in fact, the Election Commission for, first of all, let me start with, is that use of muscle power has certainly gone down. I mean, from the times when my first experience with elections was in 1984, when I campaigned in Uttar Pradesh, then subsequently, from the heights at which muscle power took in the 1990s to what it is today, I think it's a huge change. But money power is going up.
Bhartendra Singh of the BJP, how much did you spend in your election this time, for example, if I can ask you?
Well, obviously, within the ceiling limit.
Obviously. No, but seriously, I mean, respond to what Sandeep is saying, that ceiling limit is completely unrealistic.
It is very low. It has to be higher, and the whole process has to be more transparent. Certainly. I had gone campaigning for a party that supports us in another state, and I was surprised to see a whole lot of voters rounded up and sitting in a school. And I said, what are these people doing here? And so they said, well, these are the castes that usually don't vote for us. So we have paid them money to sit here till 5 in the evening till when the polling stops. So they are not only people being paid to vote, but they are also people being paid not to vote. So it's, and money is a big thing. There's alcohol coming into the constituency. There's money being distributed in the constituency. The parties and the candidates will take care of each other. They will report. As long as the election commission is serious and has the will to implement a cheap election.
Right, so it comes down to the election commission. But what can the politician do? What can the individual politician do who does not want to use money power? Are you saying you're powerless against the system? You have to use money power. If you're out there trying to win an election, you have to use money power, even if you don't want to.
It's a fight. So you have to fight. You have to fight. Everybody is fighting to win. You can't say, I'm not going to, it's a boxing match. If my opponent is kickboxing, then I'll still only box with my hands. It doesn't work that way.
In Kashmir, proverbially, there were no free elections. Administration would declare who is the winner, who is the loser. The honorable members here will be perhaps shocked to know that the first assembly after we became independent in Jammu and Kashmir was nominated. No elections. Anybody who filed papers, they were rejected. That was the reason the Jammu people, their Praja Parishad, the Kashmiri people, became enemies of each other. Because the leader was a Kashmiri leader, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah.
Right.
He did not allow a single opposition leader to file a paper, nomination paper to become a member of the assembly, Constituent Assembly. Jammu people revolted and their papers were also rejected. So our first assembly, first Constituent Assembly, unelected. In 1987, unfortunately, Rajiv Gandhi and Farooq Abdullah made a pre-electoral alliance and rigged the elections like nobody's business.
Right.
The result was that those people who participated in elections were Jamaat-e Islami, Abdul Ghani Loan, Hurriyat Conference, Yasin Malik. All these people who won the election got the certificates in their hands, and by the evening they were all arrested and new results were announced.
Right.
And most of them became militants. So long as there are militants, there are Pakistani elements, there are Hurriyat Conference people, elections will not be free in Kashmir.
The Election Commission has won the battle against muscle power, but you haven't won the battle against money power.
We are all caught in a kind of vicious cycle in which everybody wants to bail the cat, but if you ask somebody to bail the cat, he will not.
Is state funding the answer?
Most of the money that is used unfairly is actually not something that you see obviously on your face. It's not coming out in posters or in banners or in flags or in cars. It's being used either for, as he said, maybe giving it directly to voters or many other forms of paying volunteers. I mean, there are various forms of using it. So I don't think that's the issue. But I'm not saying I have solutions, but there are certain places quite clearly where I think Election Commission still is perhaps not able to work out. This, and I can say this with some confidence. I mean, for example, alcohol is something I think they can easily control.
Right.
Every policeman knows where the liquor is coming from. Every thana knows where alcohol is going. And I mean, if Election Commission actually wants,
Why don't
6
you,
to
why
7
don't
days,
you
they can
control
actually
alcohol?
control that.
Why
I don't think that's an issue
why don't you
I would
control
like
that
to
will
add
ever have
to
a
that.
problem.
I would just
Alcohol
like to
power
add
more.
to that. Money comes in truckloads. So every thana knows where the money is coming from and where it's being delivered.
Well,
so I want to go back to where I started, that in '84, Mr. T.N. Session did a brilliant job because he just empowered the thana and that they would respond to the person reporting against and telling them that
So
the money
if
is
the
reaching
Election Commission wants, if the Election Commission wants, it can crack down on money
well,
power.
Election Commission has cracked on this, and you are aware that when tightened it so much, then the traders had complained that the money is not able to move, and then cash is being caught at different branches. and then many people went to the court also, and so we had to definitely make it a little more liberal.
Are the politicians willing to come together and say, we all take a pledge here that we will not use money power, liquor power, muscle power in elections?
Once you reach the top of the party, once you are the president of the party, then you want to exercise control on the party and control on the whole system. And the way you will do that is by using your money power.
Unless there is internal democracy in India, our democracy is only an illusory democracy. It is feudalism masquerading as representatives of the people.
There seems to be among the politicians a lack of faith in the electoral system. As a politician, do you have faith in the electoral system?
I think I do. I don't think any system would be ideal, and maybe perhaps we always work towards one. For example, I mean, he's giving an ideal situation of what political parties could be. Fair enough. You can always. I think by and large, election systems
Mr. Dikshit, I hold
represent.
you in high esteem. Can't 100 members of parliament bring a legislation?
As I said,
for internal democracy.
The day it happens, fair enough. I was chief whip of the principal party in the last 5 years.
If our bosses don't agree, can't we resign?
Please. I mean, I appreciate your sentiment. As of me, maybe I'm a weaker person than you.
No,
I
sir,
believe
weaker,
I believe current legislative system will not happen. Our parliament doesn't work that way.
I would like to agree with him.
Let me just finish this one point. All I was saying, ma'am, I think the current electoral system by and large reflects the opinion of the people.
The BJP budget for just propaganda, for just publicity was something like, it was said to be 5,000 crore.
Just a little portion of that money, instead of spending it on media or on social media or whatever you are terming it as, a portion of this can be spent to just transfer money to people, and you can achieve electoral victory. So I really think the question is not about
just transfer money to people.
No, yes, it's being done. I'm telling you, money was given to people, and they were made to sit 500 rupees each.
No, so are you saying that should be adopted as a practice?
I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, how can we stop it? How do we stop it? That is the question.
There's a difference between how much a candidate can spend and how much a party can spend. Is that an issue? That, if a party can spend an unlimited amount, then everything is going as party funds. Then the candidate can show that I'm not spending anything. This is just a party that's spending.
No, it's
not
that. It's not that. You can only have 2 rallies in your election, because that is what is allowed. That is what we were told, and so that takes care of it. And every rally has a minimal cost that you have to add to your election expense. That you have to put that much money if you have a rally. And so that really curtails it a lot. But I don't think, as all of us have said earlier, I don't think it's the money that is being shown on paper that makes the difference. It is money that is pushed from from under the purview. How do we free an officer from caste affiliations, from regional affiliations, and how do we make him affiliated to the Constitution of India when he gets his job? Because the election commission is also running on the same bureaucracy. It's the DM who becomes the returning officer. So what we ultimately have to rely on is the DM and the SDM and their fairness and their commitment.
Spending of money, distributing alcohol is not something that comes very easy to most people. When you make things strict, you may not have a consensus at the level of top leaders, but there are a large number of individual candidates who can use your pressure to make their elections easier to fight for themselves, and perhaps a little more moral and little more ethical than what they would otherwise do.
Does the model code of conduct violate, as has been said, the model code of common sense?
My saving is the model code of conduct. It helps me, it saves me, it empowers me to fight a cheaper election. But again, my only complaint is, as long as the officer sitting there is interested in helping me.
It helped us reduce our election expenditures quite largely. So, cutting down on posts. Of course, there are also some parts I think where I think they need to sort out. And some of them are actually quite
But does
ridiculous.
the 48-hour rule of
That's
no
okay.
campaigning before 48 hours make sense?
Actually, I'll also
Because
tell you,
a number of people do
most of
campaign
us
through,
get
internet
involved
and
in the last
TV
48
media.
hours on what is called pure booth management.
Right.
So actually, it helps us just move out of campaigning, and that's a very critical part. So in many senses, it's like a handshaking. You know, I get off my bhashanbazi and get into other stuff. But you see, one point, Sagarika, that you made about party spending, I think that's something we need to take a look at now. Because, you know, however powerful certain candidates may be or may not be, for an average candidate, they get swarmed by another party's very massive campaigns in case that happens. And that does create a problem. On the other hand, you know, there are, I think, certain things in which you need to, get out of. You know, they have certain very silly model codes of conduct. Sometimes, 2 ghante ke baad, teesra jhanda aa gaya, to, suddenly comes up, And I know you suddenly find instead of 2 cars, 3 cars. I mean, if I am having 3 cars, you count it. You see, the obviously known shown expenditure is something you can easily calculate.
Right.
Half the time, our people in our office are battling with absolutely silly things,
Some of the directives, they are extremely helpful. Some go a little overboard.
Election is the decision of the electorate of that particular moment. Right? That moment can be a day. Can that moment be 3 months?
Are you simply capturing the mood of the day?
No, I am only saying that even now, if you see strictly the provision for the service voters, we gave not 1 day. Any time when he gets the postal ballot, and after that he has his merry time to send his postal ballot. So that day, doing the election on 1 day or on many days, or providing 1 day or a week's time or a 3 months time, that's a call. Probably we'll have to all take it together. But again for
But aren't these multi-phase elections? Elections that are over 5 phases. Or see, you had this experience in Kashmir. Now, how was that? I mean, do politicians like that multi-phase election?
No, they don't like.
They don't like. You have to spend much more money.
Though I can understand that if the security agencies say that we will be too thinly spread in a state like Kashmir or some other state where there are militants or terrorists, maybe you can stretch it for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
But stretching it for weeks together is actually, it's a staggered decision. It's not that decision of the...
We certainly need the central security forces to conduct the election in Uttar Pradesh.
Right.
Because, yes.
Don't trust the UP police.
No, we cannot.
No
They're
UP
completely
police.
under the government. And
Right.
the BJP hasn't been in power in UP since the last
For you,
13
you're
years.
not, that means you're not in charge of the police.
That's right.
That's
So
basically
we
saying that
want
the
our
police is
central
not under
forces.
your
We
control.
want our central forces, even if it takes 6 months. We want them there when my next 5 years are being decided.
I would like to
But
say
that
on
means
this,
that you have to move those troops from place to
If you
place.
can move them
which is what
faster,
takes-
let's have it.
which is
But we
what
cannot
takes-
have the
But
election
that's
without the
something that
troops.
needs to change, that the troops are taking too long to move from place to place, because that's why you need to stretch out these phases. so
no,
much.
I think you are seeing it from the outside. So probably you won't know what are the complexities in moving the troops who are moving not from a fixed location. They are already placed at sensitive location. Earlier they just wanted a state armed force. Today everybody wants the central police force.
Let's look at the way ahead and how we are talking about technology and leveraging technology in the election process. How is technology, for example, changing elections? Is your campaigning shifting from the field to the virtual world?
Yes, to a certain extent. I mean, we couldn't do it this time because, very frankly, I don't understand that media at all. I have kind of just about won the battle with SMSs on my own phone. So I'm not.
That probably explains why the Congress party is where it is.
But I'll tell you, it's actually a very difficult word. And I think that's something where it's not just a matter whether it affects you or not, but it's a very difficult world to understand and control. See, what's happening in that is that it's actually not just on social media. It's millions of networks inside.
Right.
It's people networking with each other, talking to each other. And in many senses, almost becoming like statements of truth that are coming in on that media. And most of the time, you're out of that. So I think somehow you need to, I won't say regulate to stop what is happening, but not regulate, but regulate to see what is happening.
It is because of things like Facebook and pages of Facebook that you can read immediately what your electorate wants.
But you still need the rallies on the ground.
You still need the rallies on the ground, but they are guiding you all the time of exactly what they want to hear, exactly what they want you to do. We already have EVMs, we have cameras watching the election booth and recording. but maybe there should be swipe cards, because a lot of election officers who are actually school teachers posted in the booth, just because there are certain voters that are of a certain community who are not voting the way he would like them to vote. So he would repeatedly keep asking them that get this particular, आप ये आइडेंटिटी लाइए, अब राशन कार्ड दिखाइए, इसमें फोटो सही नहीं है, इसमें नाम का स्पेलिंग सही नहीं है. So if you just have a swipe card, you can just go swipe your thing and just do your vote. If we can operate our bank accounts from home on the computer, why can't we vote from home? Or why can't we at least register our votes from home,
Right.
Because the registration process, if there is a BSP government, there will be registration of voters amongst a certain caste. If there is a Samajwadi Party government, there will be registration of another community happening in a very big way. So all this is happening,
So technology can liberate
I
the election process from all of these.
Question.
Yeah, sure.
Is it possible, when we talk about this digital management of the election, the Chinese might hack us?
Well, that's right. Why I
good
said
point.
that.
That's
how
absolutely
we,
right.
They can hack it. They can hack. They
That's
can
why
have
when-
the results, and they can perhaps make you prime minister.
Yeah. While speaking, I was telling you the concern for the security of the data,
Yes.
security of the network, and also the alternative ways of influencing the voters, or maybe that capturing their mobile phone.
I had put a question in Parliament as to what fund has been allocated for cybercrime. And you'll be surprised to know that there is no fund that has been allocated for cybercrime.
We have to actually appreciate the current generation and the need of the technology. Even EVM was kept idle for more than 10 years, and after that now it is being used. Even though it's a foolproof technology, proven technology, there are many people who, even without understanding, they start disbelieving it.
One way that technology has made a difference is you've got the voter rolls now on the website, right? India's voter rolls are now all on the website.
Yes,
all on the voter service
completely.
portal website.
In
so
fact-
anyone in the world can
Yeah.
access India's electoral rolls.
Yeah, sure. Today,
Anyone sitting in the world can access India's electoral
anywhere
rolls.
in the world. No,
And can
no,
switch
they
it. That's
cannot
what I'm
hack.
saying. I wanted to ask you.
No, they cannot hack.
Is there a danger of
They
hacking
can
there?
no, they cannot, because our architecture is one of the best.
America's NS, America's security
No, I would-
entire system was
I would-
down for 12 hours.
It may be, but
For
our
12 hours.
I
Chinese
can
had taken over
assure
the
you
entire American
that
security
our
system.
architecture is one of the best.
At least in one way, the technology provides a level playing field. Is if the electoral rolls are all out there on the website, then no one political party has monopoly over any of those electoral rolls, and that's one way in which technology can, I think,
it's helpful.
be
Electromagnetic
a creator of a level playing field when it comes to different political parties. I just want to get some quick comments from you as we conclude. Let's start with Sandeep. Is the Indian electoral system getting fairer than it was? Is it by and large a fair system? Is it much fairer than it used to be?
Yes, I'll say it'll be much fairer than it used to be. I won't say 50s and 60s, but I think the anomalies that came up from the late 70s, 80s and 90s, we are certainly better.
Challenges are great, and the election systems and the election commission is working at it. We are evolving very nicely out in it, and I look forward to a day very soon when the internal elections will be a part of the parties, will be a part of the election commission.
Despite all the problems that we are facing, this country is marching forward. And as Churchill said, democracy is the worst form of government, but there is no better alternative.
All over the globe, Indian elections are considered to be one of the best. You know that in America, the Henry Clinton said it as a gold standard.
That's it on this special roundtable brought to you by Niti Foundation and ET Now on how technology can be leveraged in creating a level playing field in elections. Lots and lots of insights have come out, changing the party system, modifying the model code of conduct. Lots of important insights have come out from our politicians and our representative of the Election Commission here on how elections can be made a level playing field. Thanks so much for watching Capital View. We'll be back next week.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.